Namaste. The current global geopolitics are moving towards an alignment of democratic countries across the world, which would also mean a natural alliance between North American and European countries with India. Unfortunately, due to unavoidable circumstances, the cordial relation between India and Canada are currently at their lowest point in decades, seemingly taking a while for things to settle. There is also an unconfirmed report that India is asking Canada to reduce 41 more diplomats from India before 10th of October. While there is a lot of published news on the political side, in today's episode of Logistically Speaking, I will focus more on the impact on logistics and import-export trade between the nations. To put into context the nature of the relationship between India and Canada, it's beneficial for you to know that Canada is the 18th largest foreign investor in India with an overall investment of about $3 billion in the last 3 years. This is 0.5% of FDIs in India. India is Canada's 9th largest trade partner and more than 600 Canadian companies have presence in India, and this list is expected to grow with over 1,000 Canadian companies pursuing entry into Indian market. Currently, the trade between both nations is more than $10 billion per year, which is less than 2% of India's import-export trade. While India's export to Canada include pharmaceutical, gems and jewelry, textiles and machinery, Canada's exports to India mainly consist of pulses, timber, pulp and paper and mining products. The Canadian pension funds consider Indian economy as a stable one and have invested more than $50 billion in India. With a significant Indian origin population in Canada, India receives around $1 billion in personal remittance from Canada, but at the same time, Indian students spend around $5 billion in Canada every year. Though some experts believe that the current tensions between India and Canada are unlikely to impact trade and investment between the two countries in the long, there is certainly some impact that has occurred. Number one on this list is the FTA talks paused. The talks between Canada and India for signing an FTA has paused for the time being. This agreement was expected to bring in business for Indian exporters given India's strength in pharmaceutical and textile manufacturing. Some of the major textile manufacturers even expanded their capacity, anticipating a strong demand after FTA, but they will now have to wait for till the tension subside. Number two, impact on air traffic. Tourism and student movement between the nations were increasing in the past, which will now decline. Reduced flight capacity will also result in shortage of space for air cargo movement between nations. Number three, industry-specific impact. Major imports from Canada include pulses, specifically masoor dal for India, potassium chloride for the fertilizer industry, and coking coal needed for making steel. If there is an impact on trade, Indian importers will have to look for new sources for import, and currently there is a shortage of sourcing countries for pulses and food items. Number 4. Impact on the stoppage of visa issuance. Money flow from Indian students would stop and they will look for alternative countries. Similarly, Canadian pension funds might also explore other countries for investment. When business travel stops, it will impact both import and export trade as the value of in-person meetings or inspection, pitching, etc. cannot be replaced digitally. Number 5. Canadian investment funds. Canadian pension funds are investors in Indian startups and some logistic companies like Delivery, TVS Logistics, as well as an investment in Indospace, which is an warehousing arm of Bridgestone Group. Along with that, these funds support Logos India Logistics venture, which commits to invest in the Indian logistics sector. If these investment plans take a backseat, some of the startups in the logistics sector will have to explore alternative sources. Looking at the development of the past weeks, it does not seem like confrontation will escalate much further. Key allies of Canada like the US and the UK haven't strongly reacted to or supported Canada's allegations and are looking to de-escalate the current tension. All these nations view India as a strategic ally and a strong economic and trade partner, which might result in speedy de-escalation of current tension. Being the third largest startup ecosystem and the only scaled up market in Asia, especially when the China option need to be avoided, can help in alleviating confrontation with natural allies like Canada. Well, I hope this video helped you to understand the India-Canada tension in the context of trade and its impact on business. I look forward for your comments and feedback. See you next week. Thank you.